I used to call myself stupid all the time. Derek, you stupid for that. You stupid for that. Well, man, the power of life and death is in the tongue. Don't call yourself stupid. Don't call yourself ugly. Don't call yourself broken. You are not broken.
Right.
Like, don't call yourself like I'm screwed up, man. I'm effed up in the head, man. I'm never gonna be nothing, man. Like, no, you not that. You not that.
Yeah.
You are made in the image of God. God love you. He want to see you prosper. He want to do see you do well. But the only way you're gonna get to that point is you have to humble yourself enough to say, God, I don't know what I'm doing and I need some help.
That's a big fact.
We're gonna have this conversation right now. King Legend Talk. Legend. King Legend Talk. King Legend Talk. Legend. King Legend Talk. You are now tuned in to King Legend Talks.
So for the people that just now tapping in, man, first of all, I want to say thank y'all for being here today. This is another episode of King Legend Talks. And again, we got a very special guest in the building. Not just anybody. You know what I'm saying? I know he loves being very humble about his career, but this guy I would consider to be like an OG in the game. He's really been in this for many, many years. What, almost 2 decades now? It's been that long?
In a minute.
It's been a minute. I ain't trying to make you feel old, my brother. He like,
Oh,
it's been
nah,
a
my
minute.
knees do that. Elbows.
Absolutely, man. He's like, come on, man. All right,
Hey,
listen.
look, my knee make me feel old. Every day I wake up, I'll be like, dang, bro, that was
Hey,
hurt.
did you ever have to think twice before getting on the basketball court?
Oh yeah, definitely not. Now it's definitely we're very selective with the games that we play. You
Yeah,
know what I
that's how
mean?
you know you're getting up there for real. You got to think twice about my knees and everything. Hold on, is this worth it right now?
Man, I also tore my Achilles tendon even when I was younger, like
Yeah,
right around the time when I had signed with Reach. I tore my Achilles tendon and then like I shot a video right after it, like literally the day before the surgery. So it's like,
wow.
so I'm super nervous. Every time I hoop, I'll be like, oh man.
Absolutely. So, y'all, for those people who don't know, I really can't really put him in a box. He really doesn't belong in a box, and I think for the longest in his whole career, if you really been paying attention, he's never tried to fit in a box. And so,
Mm,
I think just for your introduction purposes, I'm gonna say you're a rapper, producer, entrepreneur, truth teller, who's never been afraid to push boundaries and speak on real issues, even dealing with the culture, even being able to challenge the status quo. I think you're an amazing individual when it comes to being authentic, and that's something has been with you since day one. And anybody that's followed you from the beginning can definitely see that hasn't changed. And being in the spotlight, man, you were in the spotlight before social media, and then it's like
nah.
you see social media and the impact it's having on the community, and I'm talking the Christian hip hop community in that space. I feel like you kind of been a part of it since the beginning, like through that whole process, the pioneer stage as well. So from your experience and everything that you've been able to go through as an artist first, what would you say is the main difference between your life as an artist before social media was a thing and now?
Mm. Yeah, I think early on being able to rap or being able to like be a really unique creative got you a lot more brownie points back then. Cause everybody was figuring out um, you know, is there music that Christians like that sounds like what's on the radio?
Mm,
Like where is that at? So I think if you were just like marginally good, you got a lot more, you know what I'm saying, a lot more love. Now, man, it's talented artists everywhere.
yeah,
Like, and then it's not just talented artists everywhere, but you have gifted marketers. So there's people that's like not even really talented. There's like a guy over here that's way more talented than this guy,
yeah,
but this dude's a brilliant marketer. So he gets in front of this guy. So I would say it's what made it hard back in the day was you had to have a big budget to get your ideas off.
Mm,
Now you don't actually have to have a huge budget. Like we're doing a literal podcast on
yeah,
Instagram. I'd have never thought that that would be a reality. But at the same time, like there's everybody's able to podcast. Everybody's able to make music. Everybody's able to do a record label. Everybody's able to do all these different things. So that means you have to be more consistent and more gifted than the next person.
exactly. I agree with you 100%, man. I think there's more opportunities now because there's more availability. With when
Hmm.
it comes to like the social media, you can be anywhere in the world and connect with somebody that you would have never
Yeah.
crossed paths with. Um, Before social media, you had to actually go out and hand people your CDs and be like, "Hey, man, can you check this out really quick?"
Yes, sir.
It won't no
I,
streaming
I
services like it is now.
oh,
Take
and
me
that's how
back
I
to
got
the
on. I was hand to hand on it.
yeah.
I was hand to hand downtown Nashville. That's how I got on. Yep.
Now, didn't that would you say that built character in a way, having to
For
actually
sure.
do that and hitting the streets like that?
For sure. But I think it's also a level of character that's built. I treat social media like I treat what I did back then.
Hmm.
Like, if I could think about this, bro, I used to have to be out there in the elements. It had to be hot, cold, whatever. I'm out here trapping,
Yeah,
trapping CDs. Now, bro, you can literally in the comfort of your home, like right here, do whatever.
yeah,
Like, in order for me to be interviewed 10 years ago, I had to leave my house, book a plane ticket, et cetera, et cetera. I think the thing that people have to be able to deal with is not being attached to the numbers. So, like,
hmm,
there's a lot of people that's like, man, I won't do a podcast unless it has X amount of people. I'm like, dog, I'm doing a podcast with anybody that want to talk to me
yeah,
because it's an opportunity for me to build a new friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my first time being on this platform, but it's an opportunity to say, now hopefully I got another homie that
yeah.
I can say, like, hey, if I want to talk to the people, I'm able to come talk to your platform, so that's the benefit of today now. And I didn't have to, I just walked downstairs.
Absolutely. Like that's dope, man, when you think about it because even outside of the music, man, let's talk like the business side of that. There's so many people that won't put one foot in front of the other one unless it's going to make a money or a dime
Right.
from it, right? And I understand that we all know our worth, and you may have certain standards and things like that, but you can't never neglect like small beginnings. You know what I'm saying? Because we all come from
Facts.
somewhere. There's so many opportunities that I ended up having just from being willing to do something on love. Like
Yep.
opportunities come from a situation just from you just trying to, hey man, I'm just gonna support what you got going on right now.
Right.
Never even knew what was gonna happen. And I think for you, that's kind of dope when I think about it because when I think about like No Big Deal, for an example, they walked up on you. It was an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, hey man, we gotta shoot our shot real quick. We don't know what's gonna happen from it. And then that
Right.
whole situation was able to kind of like I would say be born from that situation in a way. How does it feel when you know that you've made an impact in somebody else's life that you didn't even plan on doing? It was just kind of like in the moment of you just being who you are, genuine and showing love. What does that feel like when you see the fruit from that?
Man, when the opportunities actually to come back to be able to see the fruit of that, man, it ain't nothing like it. Cause I look at it as if God gave me an opportunity to be a part of something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't want to ever be on the sideline. And I think a lot of times people have to be okay with their position and stuff. And that's something I've had to learn. Sometimes you are in front of the camera, sometimes you're behind the camera.
Hmm.
Sometimes you getting paid for it, sometimes you just alley ooping.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I think if we can all accept our role in certain things and know that it's God that's gonna be the person that's gonna elevate it, then it takes a lot of the pressure off to get something out of it.
Yeah, I think it's even deeper to think about like we all go through seasons in our lives, and every season there's something that we could be developing. And I
Yeah.
love how you just said some people want to be in front of the camera versus behind the camera because I was the guy that was holding the camera for a minute. You feel me?
Mhm, mhm,
Like
mhm.
even going into like the iHeartRadio, the studios, and it started off for me, like I said, secular. And I would be in there just I'm the cameraman in the studio while my boy DJ DC he doing interviews with like Lex Luger. You know what I'm saying? Like Shy Glizzy, he's doing these interviews. I'm just sitting back there in the background holding the camera. And at that
Yeah,
time, that was what I wanted to do. You get what
yeah,
I'm saying? But this is even deep now I think of it because God had other plans even while I was in that situation.
yeah,
Like he was already working on this while I was
yeah.
over there trying to become the dopest photographer in VA. You feel me?
Right,
Whole
right,
different plan. But God was still ordering my steps even when I didn't realize it. Because the same things that I learned from those moments, I'm able to apply now before I even knew this platform would exist. I was
right.
able to be in development during those times in that season. Can you think of a season in your life where you were being developed and let's just say you wasn't even aware of it? Because I know you've been doing music your whole life, like all the way back to like 12. So, can you think
Yeah,
about a time where you were developing another skill that you didn't intend to actually do, but now you see fruits from it?
yeah. So about, I would say about 2019. My sister comes in and she's like, "Yo, you got to learn to start investing your money." So she brings me this Robinhood account, and man, I invested some money in this stock. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was like a penny stock.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible thing to invest in, but I made like 500 bucks. I was like, "Oh shoot, this is
Yeah.
crazy." So, like anybody else, I'm like, "Oh man, you know what I'm finna do? I'm about to just go crazy with trading. I don't even care about music no more." So I went through a season where like trading in the front was in the front of my mind and music was like in the back.
Wow.
And bro, I was getting clapped like every day, waking up, getting smoked every day. And I still trade to this day. Like I still literally wake up every day and trade. It's something I enjoy to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I started applying that because in order to be a great trader, you have to be consistent and you can't be emotional.
Mm.
So what I've learned is that a lot of my emotions were tied to my money.
Got you.
Lack
Okay.
lack of having it or when I have it. Like happy when I got it, sad when I don't.
Right.
And you can't have that when you're trading because if you get too excited when a trade is going your way,
Mm-hmm.
rather than do the right thing with it, you like, I'm gonna let it go a little bit further, and then you get smoked.
Mm.
Or if you lose 10 in a row, you be like, I quit. Well, you never know if the next trade will just wipe out all the losses that you just had.
Exactly. You
You
could
know
be
what I
real
mean?
close to it. You never even know.
Exactly. So I had to start applying that to business. So over these last 5 years, as we've been building RMG Amplify and helping putting artists on, like we had to restructure our business
Mm-hmm.
multiple times. And this time I restructured it according to like that principle, which is okay, with all of our artists, like we have to have better plans, better budgets, and all of that. And I think that's why people love RMG, is because we don't treat it like gambling. We treat it like literally like a business, and we empower people and all of that. And that, I think that's, I would say trading is probably the thing that did it for me.
Now, when I think about you as a person, and from what I know, man, it seems like you got a real big heart for other people. Where do you think that came from? Like, if you could pinpoint one time in your life where you just felt like I want to help other people. Like, where did that ambition come from?
Oh, that's mom's. Yeah, that's mom. My mom's in a sense, in every sense of the word, she's a firefighter, except for physically. Like every time somebody's in something, I get a call. Derek, you gotta pray for this person, or Derek, we gotta come through together and help with this. And so definitely my mom. And I think like we grew up, I didn't have my blood family next to me,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, like because my mom moved us to Tennessee when I was like a little kid. So I didn't grow up with like cousins that was like blood. So we had to make friends quick.
Right.
And like my homeboy Brandon that's on here, like that's my brother. I've been knowing him since I was 6 years old. So it's like when I found out that as I got older, I realized that's uncommon. Most people don't make friends like how we make friends. Like we turn friends quickly into family because that's all we've ever had
Right.
was people that were adopted family. And I think that that just made me have a higher love, I think, for humanity. And it's not tied to blood or allegiance. It's just tied to just people as people, you know?
Yeah. Now that's deep. Now your mother, she was into church, right? With you
Oh yeah,
growing
my
up.
mom, my mama is church.
I was gonna say, like, how did her faith rub off on you to the point, let's say you start having your own personal relationship with Christ? Like, what was that like?
She the realest. Like I don't have a testimony of people that didn't love God.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom did all the stuff that she believed. So if she believed that you wasn't supposed to be doing, like if she believed you supposed to be at church every Sunday and every Wednesday and every Tuesday, we was there every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Tuesday, every Saturday. She didn't miss a beat. And it wasn't nothing that was gonna sway her. There was no amount of money that was gonna change that.
Mm,
And that's the thing I love about my mom because she just has high character, you know what I mean?
absolutely. Now, going to church that regularly, did that have a huge impact on your life in your childhood?
Without a doubt. Like that's like people always wonder where like Derek talks about all of this content from different angles and all of that. It's the stuff that I learned in church. Like I went to a church that was underfunded and it was in the middle of the projects. Like literally across the street, they had a apartment complex called Murray Manor,
Mm,
and we used to call it Murder Manor because in our little small town, that's where everybody got killed at because of like drugs and stuff. So it's like we had drug dealers that went to the church, and then we had drug addicts that went to the church, and then we had so many different people that like the church was really in the trenches like that.
yeah,
So it impacted me because I think I saw early that the church is not full of perfect people. It's full of just regular people that's just trying to figure it out.
yeah.
And I think that allowed me to have a different look as opposed to if you never know anything about the church and then you get saved and you're like, oh man, I love this Jesus. And you hop in and then you get your heart broke because you start realizing that the same niggas that was outside the church is in the church now.
Mm-hmm.
they
That's
just
true.
trying they just trying their best.
Like the Bible says, it's not the healthy who need a doctor; it's the sick.
It's
You know
just
what I'm
sick,
saying?
man.
And there's a lot of times where you get this brand. I'm gonna call it that. You get this brand of perfect Christianity, where people don't even have a past. They've never even made mistakes because they've gone into the church and they've gotten cleaned up, air quotes, cleaned up.
Air quotes for sure.
And then the people that walk through the door and they just trying to see what this is all about. What is this Jesus stuff y'all talking about? I hear the music outside in the parking lot. I'm trying
Right.
to come up in here and see what's going on. As soon as they get through the doors, they're met with a whole bunch of judgment and different things like that that pushes them out the door. Like a bouncer pushing someone out the club. Like, hey
Yeah.
man, you can't get in because you don't look like the type of Christian we want here. Now, what does
Right.
that say, man? That's deep when you think about it, because it creates this certain type of model of what a Christian looks like, and if you don't fit in, then you don't belong here. And
Right.
I've seen a lot of artists, musically speaking, that have these gifts, the rap and even the sing, and because it's not embraced, by the church. And when I say the church, I'm not talking about just the four walls. I'm just talking about believers. You know what I'm saying? They're not embraced by those people to the point where it's confusing.
Right.
And they go back to the same hood, the same projects, and they love them out there. And now they got a decision to make. It's like, yo, they showing me love. All right, even if it's not the real love, I can relate to this. I understand it. They
Mm.
come over here, it's completely different. They ain't never heard nothing about Christ or nothing. They just learning because they babies. And I call them babies because, spiritual infants. Just trying to get their feet wet a little bit. And they getting pushed away instead of being
Yeah.
discipled. It's a very fine, thin line between someone being in the world and on that path, that narrow path. And I think discipleship is where you meet people in the middle. You meet people where they at. For you, what do you think we can do better when it comes to Christian hip hop in general, when it comes to embracing new artists, man? Because now the music has shifted over the years. Drill music is very popular now.
Right.
And we can't act like it don't exist because it does. And so now when you get these groups of artists that come from that environment, that come from that drill music, and that's what they knew, that they always was making that type of music, and now they come into the church to get a life to Christ and they're trying to do things differently. What do we do to embrace them?
That's a good question. I think for me, and when I think about that, I think we have to be careful with looking at Christian hip hop as the church, as its function or its vehicle as the church. Christian hip hop to me is a culture,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a culture of artists, that artists and fans and podcasters and graphic designers and videographers, like it's the whole ecosystem of people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not just it's not that Christian hip hop isn't in the church, but it's not the totality of the church. So I think if we begin to start trying to make Christian hip hop the vehicle to help disciple people, then I think we get in trouble. I think what if anything Christian hip hop should be doing is building up the local pastors and pointing to those people and saying, like, look, you like my music? That's hard. Like, I never tell somebody, like, with me, come to me. I got you. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I can help you be a better rapper. I've been married for 18 years. I can tell you how I made it this far in my marriage. But there's an extent that I'm just not able in myself to take as many people under my wing as I want to. So
Mm-hmm.
my goal is to push you into your church and say, dive into that. That's what's impacted me the most over time. So, but if we could say what Christian hip hop could do better, um, I think Christian hip hop honestly is doing a pretty decent job at a lot of stuff. I think the ways we can improve is that artists are going to have to become more bold.
Mm.
And I'm talking about the artists that had the platforms. And I'm not saying every artist has to be a trailblazer or they have to be a maverick, but artists are going to have to start talking about things that the average person can relate to.
Yeah.
That's, if anything, that's why I love No Big Deal, because I could listen to his album and I can get something out of it. You know what I mean? As a human being, if I just didn't know he was a Christian rapper, as a human being, he does less telling me about what the scriptures say and more unpacking what they are doing in the verse in a very unique way. So I
Yeah.
think Christian hip hop's mature, like content needs to mature. Now, oftentimes when people hear that, they think that somebody's saying, "Oh yeah, you gotta start talking vulgar." And I'm like, "Hey, if that's how you feel like that's maturity to get your point across, I'm not mad at it if it's done in an artful way that isn't offensive." But
Yeah.
I'm not saying become more vulgar. I'm just saying, man, I want to hear what is a Christian that's been married for 18 years. What is that life like?
Right. Right.
Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, we got a lot of we done got a lot of demon killers. Like, I'm like, man, y'all ain't killed them all yet? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, I'm like, can y'all tell me what it was like as you fought to, it's dudes that's getting married. Like, tell me what it's like when you were single. Like, I want to know how single Christian young man or young woman is like. Like, we need more life music,
Yeah.
you know?
Now you make a lot of sense, bro, because I believe you matter of fact it was on the podcast you did with No Big Deal. You were talking about that funnel that a lot of people in the
Mm,
Christian hip hop scene get involved in and don't even realize it. So you get
yeah,
like this soundtrack to Christian hip hop where even if the artist sounds different, the substance and the subject matter is the same. It's almost
man.
like a copy and paste type thing on the message that's being put out there, and you're
Bro,
very
you can print the lyrics out, give it
yeah
to another dude, and it's just over West Coast beats.
yeah
Take that same joint and give it to somebody else. Now it's over East Coast beats. It's the same, like,
yeah
it's the same album being constantly given to the world. And I think that it relates to a certain group of people that's relevant to. But the problem is, over time, that group ages out of that type of content. So the fans don't begin to grow with the artist.
hmm
So the artist is like Peter Pan. They stuck at a certain content for the rest of their life. Like,
yeah. The
that
subject
ain't
matter
it.
stays the same when you go through different seasons and you grow and you even mature. Your message should also develop. I mean, I think about it like this: even in the secular realm, in the world where you'll see an artist like a young Ti start to make
Hmm.
different music than an older Ti, and it's
Yep, yep,
because the life experiences has changed along the way. Um,
yep.
I put together a Q&A for some people on Reddit, and I love using
Okay.
Reddit because a lot of people don't know nothing about Reddit, but it's like
Reddit lit.
it's lit in its own way. It's like its own little niche.
Yeah, yeah.
But I put together like a Q&A on Reddit and had a whole bunch of questions for you from people on that platform. And
Okay, that's lit.
one of the questions I'm going to pull it up right now. Somebody asked, I just think it's the perfect time to ask
Bro, you
it.
gotta send me some Reddit boards where y'all having these
Oh,
convos.
I
I need to
got
hop
you.
in.
Say less.
Put
I
me
got
on.
you.
DM me some Jones.
I got you. I got you.
Okay, bet.
Um, so what would uh a young pro say to a Derek Minor today?
So that's interesting. Vice versa.
Yeah,
What would Young Pro say to Derek Minor?
yeah. That's with a twist
Uh,
on it. So
he
if
probably
he if he walking up on you like, hey man, give me some game right now, something, or what would he say to you about you that may be different than before?
I would hope that he would say, "Man, I appreciate you for opening the door for me to be myself." That's what I would hope he would say.
That's deep.
And more than likely, he would probably try to give me his demo tape, um, and try to get me to sign him. So
Yeah. Now let's flip this. Let's flip the script. Now, what would you say to him?
I would say, yes, continue being yourself. And I would say, stick to your guns because you're not crazy as they think you are. And I probably would sign him because I think he'd be a good investment.
I love the way you put that together, man. That's dope. So, I'm just gonna read a couple of other questions, man. Somebody asked, "Who are some of the Christian hip hop artists that you listen to today that you think is fire, maybe underrated?"
Mm. There's this kid named Syph from Denver.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. I know exactly who you talk about.
That last album Syph did,
Yeah,
nuts. I love that John. Um, I love Mission. I love Mission's music. Mission is
Mission is
crazy.
dope. Yeah,
Tory Deshawn's last album was the best album to drop last year, in my personal opinion.
yeah.
Uh,
It was a
let's
lot of
see,
fire albums last year, though.
great albums like
Yeah,
Renaissance.
Yup.
To me, it's Tory and Dill's albums are the two joints that was battling for me.
Bodega
Um,
2,
Bodega Two's nice.
that's fire.
Bodega's too nice.
Though the Scars
Bodega's too.
Remain, C4
Yeah,
Controller. That was
yeah,
fire.
yeah. It's some great albums. It was
Yeah,
that I think for that generation of artists, that's a very that's like 2013, 2014, like for us. Like
yeah.
it was one of them ones like for that section of artists.
It was letting people know,
Um,
hey, we ain't went nowhere. We still got it.
yeah, that was a very strong outing.
Yeah.
Let me try to think. I got an actual playlist called POV You Love Rap Music But Don't Like Getting Shot. And they have
Hey, look, that's as real as it get.
and it got a lot of stuff I'm listening to, but obviously Caleb Gordon is nice. I love how versatile he is. Uh Man, Mouthpiece just put out a project called Lazarus.
Okay.
I've been really diving into that joint. Mouthpiece is a underground legend that didn't. I don't think he got enough shine, but yeah, he the one. Like he got an album called Lazarus that just came out. I really like that joint. Like kid named DC3. DC3 is crazy. Um, but yeah, man, it's a lot of dope music out here.
All right. So if you can put together a super team right now, collab anybody, don't matter. Give me
Anybody at all?
anybody at all. I'm not even
Okay,
no filter, man. Anybody at all.
okay.
Um, who would you pick? You can pick three people.
And what's the function of the super team?
Y'all gonna put together a dope album.
Mm. Uh
And if you want me to make it extra hard, you can't pick somebody you already work with.
oh, that's it. Yeah, man. There's tons of people I haven't worked with that I would love to work with.
Yeah.
So
You got
give
full
me
creative control. It can be anything. It can be trap. It can be R&B. It can be hip hop. It can be pop. It's completely up to you.
man. Give does it what about the eras? Does it matter what era?
Let's call it you build the song. Like you ever heard of like Build a Bear? It's all you. This is
All right.
completely you.
Give me give me Kanye from 2013 through like 2016. Like give me like Life of Pablo, My Dark Twisted Fantasy Kanye. Give me To Pimp a Butterfly Kendrick, and Damn Kendrick, and then I'm also going to take T.I. from the early 2010s, urban legend, Jay-Z of the South T.I.
Okay, so that's Ti, Kendrick, and Kanye.
I think you're gonna get a crazy album.
That would be one. Now, if I pick one, people sleeping on Star Ringo. So
I love
yeah,
Ringo.
yeah, yeah.
Ringo
He
is
dope.
a rapper.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
People sleeping on him. He definitely like anytime I listen to any of his music, he deliver every time
every time.
for
His new
sure,
song Vent, I love that joint.
for sure. So
Hmm.
Ringo and I man, I think Kieran the Light is dope. You know what I'm saying?
Tough.
And put them together on a track. I don't know what's gonna happen. Straight up,
Yeah.
I don't know what's
That
gonna
should
happen.
happen for real. Like that
Yeah,
shouldn't be that hard to make happen in the first place.
for real. Like you put them together on track, that's just gonna be crazy. Just alone for
Hmm.
their skill and their range.
Hmm.
And then, you know, I'm gonna show the females some love. So let me think of a female artist. And I don't want to pick like, and trust me, I'm not just throwing this out there, but Kid Lee and already done so much work with Karen the Light. I don't even want to put that together. So I'm gonna say Child Like CC,
Man, what about
Ringo.
AI? The anomaly.
Yeah,
AI is my girl.
That's
That's
true.
why she one of my favorite
But
artists.
you know who also? Reese Lachey. She's dope
Yes.
too, and
Yeah,
she can
Risa Shea is
sing low
nice.
key. Like I've seen her in person and perform. Like I was like, yo, you can sing for real. Like you be
Yeah.
rapping, but she can really sing for real.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she can sing for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all of those people we just mentioned super dope, man. Um, when it comes to you as an artist, let's start. Let's just stay in the artist lane for right now.
Yeah.
Um, what is something that you feel motivated to do with your future? You know, the next, let's say, 5 years. Like, what do you want to accomplish?
I want to establish a lane for music. I want to make not only establish but make popular a lane for real niggas that love God. That's my phrase that be in my head.
Yeah, you put that on
Like
a
this.
T-shirt, you going viral right now. That's
That's
crazy.
it. That's it. Real
That is
niggas that
wild.
love God. Like that's really just the concept because like that's who I grew up with. I grew up with people that was like legit, like they was just regular dudes, bruh. But they love God.
Yeah,
They love God, bruh. And it's like I feel like there's this thing that's like when you become a Christian, you gotta turn into Carlton. And I hate that.
mm,
Like I'm like, and I feel like we've gone further, but now we have the appearance of being urban, but it don't always be like for real urban. Like it don't because the content don't connect for real urban. It'd
you,
be like urban looking dudes rapping to the suburbs. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I think it's
Hmm.
important for people to realize that when it comes to being a Christian, it's supposed to be a heart change. And a
Right.
lot of times people try to make it an appearance thing. Like you don't
Come
look
on.
Christian, you know what I'm saying? So you must not be Christian. And that's so far from the truth because when you think about like the fig tree, Jesus cursed the fig tree because it had the appearance of the fig tree had leaves and everything, but it didn't have any fruit.
Nah, no fruit. He
It
like
had
this
no
one
fruit.
useless. Uh,
So it's important to know that Jesus is judging the heart at all times. And, a lot of people in the church, even what I call modern day Pharisees, they focus on the outward appearance. You don't
amen.
fit in with us and my clique because you ain't got on the fresh J's. Like you don't look
Right.
like us. And so that's an issue that I see a lot of people have in the church today. And I think that's something that we need to bring more awareness to. It has to be the heart change because if your heart ain't in it, it's useless. It's really
That's a
useless.
fact. That's a nothing but facts right there, my boy.
Yeah. So when it comes to I guess the condition of the world, the spirit of the world
Mm.
is definitely wild right now. And it has been for some
Yeah.
years. But we have really taken a turn on like almost going downhill full throttle. And I had a Crazy Bone on the podcast
Oh, that's
um
hard.
a minute ago, and one of the things that we talked about was the spirit of the world. And
Right.
he said the spirit of the world is everything God says don't do, the world says do it. And that's the
Yeah.
condition of the world that we're in right now. Like good is bad, bad is good, that kind of thing. With you, what are some words of advice that you could give to the young people? I almost said something else, but I'm gonna say the young people
Yeah,
um,
right.
that what I'm saying, they're looking at the world and they see like, okay, this is what natural success looks like because they ain't discerning the things of the spirit. They're completely out there in the world. All they know is what they see in their environment. Those people, what would you say to them right now that are trying to strive for those things, like getting the bag real quick or chasing the materialistic view of success? What would you say to that individual that think there's no other way for them to make it out but to live the trap life?
There's a way that seems right to man, but in the end, therein lies death. That's what the OG said in the scriptures.
Yeah,
And um, I would say the people that you look up to, legitimately, strip the money away, strip the platform away, and ask yourself, would you want to be that person?
Mm,
Most of the people you do that with, a lot of people you do that with, if they didn't have money or they didn't have quote unquote success or a certain look, you wouldn't even want to be them.
yeah, that's real.
So why in the world would you want to be them now? Just because they had those things. It's like, man, a trash person is a trash person, whether they got money or not.
That's true.
Like, I
Yeah,
mean, like, no offense. I love Ye. Ye is one of my favorite, like the most inspirational. Like most of my earlier music was built on his influence.
right.
I would not want to be him. Bro, say he up 2.7 billion, he can keep all 2.7 billion of it. I don't want none of it.
Yeah,
If I gotta do that to have that, count me out.
and
You know what I mean?
the Bible talks about how hard it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And I think
Right.
about a person that gets those billions, those millions, and I think about, man, spiritually though, what did you have to sacrifice to get there? Whether that
Yeah.
be just your ideas, who you are as a person. I think you spoke about this at one point. Um, Being able to like stay true to who you are without trying to fit a mold to get a certain accolade.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what you're giving up, the cost of it. That's what it costs you to get to this level of quote unquote success or monetary gain. Was it worth it at the end of the day? And
Yeah.
honestly,
No.
it's not.
Some people would say it is. Until the thing I found, and this is from a person that's got, I think I have a decent amount of money. Me and my family are okay. Once you get there and you get past like the money part, you realize the most important things on the planet don't have anything to do with money.
That's so true.
Like when you
Yeah,
really think about it, time, only thing that money can do is buy you time.
yeah,
But most of us trade all our time for money.
yeah,
That's crazy. Like when you think about it, that's crazy. Most of us are constantly trading our time for money. Then when you think about like when you're sick, like there's no amount of money that's gonna make you say, man, like I would trade. I ask you this: if I gave you $1 million, but you gotta take 10 years off your life, would you do it?
nah, I wouldn't do it.
No, you wouldn't.
Nah, because
But
you
but
can't
you
take
would
it
be,
with you.
but you can't take it with you. But then when you think about it like this, we think about it like this, man. Like somebody like, I mean, Diddy right now, made it taking so many years off his life. He gambled in his youth and it's not paying off. He's
Yeah,
supposed to be somewhere with grandkids on his lap. This man is in prison.
yeah,
And it's looking like he never gonna get out.
yeah,
It's like you gamble. So yeah, you was able to say, man, I had a crazy luxurious life, but I'm almost like if the end of it is I'm gonna sit in prison, I'd rather not have had the thing that you had.
yeah,
Cause now
yeah,
you're gonna sit in prison the second half of your life, reminiscing on what you had while you in an orange jumpsuit.
yeah. That's true.
Like,
And
I
then
don't know, bruh.
when people get their ego hurt and bruised, it's hard to bounce back for that if that's where they see their value. You get what I'm saying? So like
For
if he
sure.
if he looks at his career as his identity, and this is where my next question is going to come from because it's a real thought provoking question. Who are
Mm.
you outside of music? If you strip the
Me?
music, yeah.
Yeah.
If they strip the music from you, they strip everything about you that people know. At the end of the day, who are you as a person, as an individual?
A regular nigga that love God. That's me. That's really what I am, bro. I just happen to rap really good and I got messed around and got lucky or blessed, you know what I'm saying, to be a part of the biggest Christian hip hop movement to ever exist, like
Yeah.
in the Reach Records thing, 116 thing. And then I've gone on to um help build careers for other people. But in my core of my core, you ask anybody about me, I'm just a regular dude that love God, bro. Like I don't this ain't like the stuff that be impressing people don't even impress me no more.
Hmm.
Mm, like I'm not impressed by a whole lot of streams or whatever. I'm impressed by like who your people's how what your people say about you. Like
I could tell you not impressed by a whole lot of streams. You got some songs that got over 8 million streams on Spotify. I was just looking at that earlier. I was like, wait a minute, 8 million? And I ain't
yeah.
seen one post about it. Yeah, he not worried about those streams. And that's good.
Ah,
That's
yeah.
good.